Hello everyone and welcome to another video and welcome to one of the classiest sedans available in the market, which is this Mazda CX Turbo. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you all the interiors, the exteriors, and we'll be going on a short drive in this Mazda CX. Before we move forward, please consider subscribing to my channel and also make sure to press the bell icon so that you never miss any video updates from my channel. Let's start from the front, but first of all, the color is absolutely gorgeous on this car, and it's not just that, it's also the mixture of chrome, which is sometimes I find some manufacturers put a lot of chrome and that just ruins the whole look of the car. But in this, it's just put like the right amount of chrome on this car. So starting off from the front, you get this grille, which is sort of dark gray color and a big Mazda logo out here, and then this chrome strip which continues from the headlights onto the other side, goes on to the bottom. And the Mazda shape is very unique and very different, and the moment you see this car, it's very much evident, and it's a Mazda from an SUV or to a sedan. So the headlight cluster is an LED headlight cluster. There are also daylight running lamps, and also it's a dynamic headlight, so it would adjust the height and everything according to the environment. And there are also fog lamps, which Mazda says it's inbuilt into the headlight cluster, so there is no separate fog lights if you observe in the front look. And there is also a nice dash of chrome out here. Again, it looks actually pretty elegant in the front look, and because there is no fog light, so they can have just this strip out here, and it's a very clean look from the front. On the sides, you get 19-inch alloy rims, and this arch that goes from the side and onto the side body looks absolutely pretty, from the side look also. And also there are some more lines, soft lines going from here onto the door and to the back. So the whole car is so proportional, like everything has like perfect size, and you just know that nothing additional has been put unnecessarily, and rather clean looking bottom also. And then these side mirrors are power foldable, they have blind spot warning system, they are also power adjustable, and then you have the smart keyless entry door handles, and the doors also have the night light in them, so whenever you open, like the light illuminates at night. And there is also the chrome surround around the windows and a sloping roof line in the back. Now in the back you will find again clean looking rear end, and you get LED tail light cluster, a full set of LED tail light cluster, and this chrome strip that goes on both the sides, the Mazda badging, the Mazda CX and the SkyActiv. At the bottom there are two exhaust tips. Again, they are chromed exhaust tips, and these chrome tips are actually so well merged into the bumper, because when you sometimes see these chrome tips from the side, they are actually just halfway finishing, and then you can actually see the pipe, and that just ruins the whole look of the car. But in this, they actually go like quite inside and merge flawlessly into the body. At the bottom, again, this black sort of plastic at the bottom, but as I mentioned, it's a clean looking back and simple. And in terms of the visibility, it's actually pretty alright because of the sloping roof line. The only problem is there are three headrests in the rear seats, and if the middle headrest is a little raised, then the visibility is actually hindered. Now when it comes to the boot space, you will find 483 liters of boot space in this setting, so you can easily put like two big bags and one small bag in this. There is also a small storage on the other side, but the boot opening is pretty wide and big, and the only thing is like there is a bit of a lip out here, and so when you lift the luggage and then when you put it in, it's a bit of a struggle. There are also scruff plates out here so that you don't damage your bumper, and also it's a very sort of squeezed out boot space. It's very rectangular. There's also a spare wheel which has been provided. There is also a boot light, and in order to fold down the rear seats, now these rear seats fold down in a ratio of 60:40, and the levers are given out here on both the sides. So The only thing is that these rear seats can be folded from here only. There is no button inside the cabin, and that's just one of the complaints about this car. Now when you fold the rear seats, the seats actually don't fold down completely, so there is a bit of a slope to that. When you're inside the Mazda 6, you will be cocooned around the nicest materials that you can find. So let me start off with the dashboard. You get soft touch plastics on the dashboard, even on the door cards, and there is also a wood-like trim on the dashboard, which is a plastic trim. But on the doors, on the driver side, they have given actual wood, whereas everywhere else is just the normal like the plastic trim. And then there is also this brown color suede material given out here, and it's also on the door cards. It actually gives you very lush and luxurious feel, you know. It's a very posh cabin inside when you sit and see it. And also out here there is also brown color Nappa leather on the center tunnel, which has been covered, and also got the brown stitching. So wherever there are chances of your body parts resting, Mazda has made sure that has been covered with soft touch materials. There's also a dash of chrome on the dashboard itself, and it goes around the air conditioning vent. Now when it comes to the dashboard, you will find a 7-inch screen that shows you variety of information, and it's also got the speedometer, so that screen will show you trip information, your trip A, trip B, and also it will show you the lane assist feature which this car comes with, also the service information. Or if you want to just have clean look, then you can choose to have nothing shown on the screen, then it will only show you the speedometer. But otherwise, yeah, it's a very simple and, you know, easy to use information display in the dashboard. Also on both the sides you can find more information about your trip, about your range, about your service, about which door information, if it's open, the temperature. So it's very simplified that way in terms of the usability. Now when it comes to the steering wheel, the steering wheel is leather covered steering wheel, nice and big, and it's also got the chrome surround around these switches. And on the right side you will find the adaptive cruise control and the switches for your lane, you know, the distance to keep between the cars. And also on the left side you will find the infotainment controls and the communication controls, and very easy to use. So the steering wheel is manually adjustable, which is your tilt and telescopic, and it's also got the paddle shifters in the back. They are like plastic paddle shifters. It's just that the plastic sometimes tends to feel a little cheap, and it's just that if they had provided a little longer ones, then it would have been easier to use. The air conditioning controls are simple, button operated, everything, and it's a dual zone air conditioning control, so the driver and the passenger can control for themselves. And it's a very easy to use. Information is displayed on the screen above it, and then you can control the fan speed, the on off button, and also the flow of air. So for the rear passengers, there are 2 vents given in the back, the airflow of which can be controlled. And when it comes to the infotainment screen, this infotainment screen is an 8-inch TFT screen. Now sometimes TFT screens tend to be, you know, washed out during the bright daylight, but in this it's not. It's actually pretty crisp and clear, and it's pretty nice to use also. And the infotainment screen is controlled using the buttons and the dial, and also this dial acts as a joystick given out here, and the volume button. Now the volume button is given out here, which is in every Mazda, but I wish it was just out here, because the usual tendency is to, you know, use in the infotainment next to it somewhere, you know, the volume button, but you will get used to it. But the main feature about this infotainment screen is it is a touch screen, but when you're not driving or when you're standstill, that is when you can operate it using the touch screen. But when you are driving around, the touch screen feature would stop working, and then you can only, you know, control it using the buttons and the joystick given out here. And that's actually a pretty good idea, and and safety wise, if you consider, it's actually pretty good, because you are really distracted while driving, you know, the using the infotainment screen. So that just solves the whole problem. But when it comes to the actual infotainment screen, you will find the application settings. In that you can see the fuel monitor, your vehicle status, the Android CarPlay, and the Apple CarPlay, and the Android Auto. Apple CarPlay. Then there is also the entertainment feature. In that you will find your FM, AM, and in terms of the connectivity, you can connect your phone to the system using the Bluetooth. You can also connect a USB. There's also Android Auto, there's Apple CarPlay, and the auxiliary port with which you can connect to the system. And then there is also communication. So when you're connected your phone to the system, you can see or read your messages or even see your call list and everything in that. And then there is also a navigation system which is pretty easy to use, and there is a memory card which you can put in the center storage. There is a slot given for that, and those the maps can be updated from that card itself, so it's very easy that way to update the maps, and it's pretty simple to use the maps and straightforward options given on the screen. Then there is finer settings for your heads-up display. The heads-up display is pretty crisp and clear, and it shows you a lot of information like your speed and also the cruise control and also the blind spot warning around the car. It will actually show you in which direction there is a car on your screen itself. Then it will also show you about your lane. So because this car has a lane keep assist, so it will show you if you are going away from the lane and which lane you are going away from. It will also flash you that also. Then there is display settings. There is also safety settings, sound, clock, vehicle, devices. There is system settings. So a lot of things you can change from the infotainment screen itself. Again, a special mention is that it is pretty bright screen, and which is what I really like. It's not a washed out screen. When it comes to the storage, you can put like 1 liter worth of bottle in the door cards. There are 2 cup holders out here. They are flexible cup holders, so which is pretty good. There is also one more storage underneath the dashboard where you can put your phones and wallets and stuff. There is also a small storage on the driver's side, a glove box which drops very gently and not suddenly. There is also a center armrest given out here in which you can put your phones and wallets and smaller items out here. The armrest actually is pretty short that way, so while driving you actually have to place your hand on the edge out here, but it's just that sometimes it tends to slip, and then it's not very thick also to put your hand out here. And if you have 2 cup holders, 2 cups inside the cup holders, then it actually hinders your gear usage of the gear shifters. It actually comes in the way, and also while putting your hand, it also again comes in the way. There's also this very cool thing about these vents. So the vents actually extend from both the sides where the dashboard actually ends, and there is a cutout given on the door card, so that actually merges pretty well the vents and the door cards. And the fit and finish on this Mazda 6 is amazing actually, because there are no cheap materials or anything, there are no panel gaps or anything, and it's just rich and quality material that has been used. So the Mazda 6 comes with a normal sunroof. The seats are Nappa leather brown color seats, and they have this brown stitching in them, and they are wide, broad, and really comfortable during the longer journeys. And then they are 8-way electronically adjustable and 2-way lumbar adjustable electronically again, and it has also got the memory feature. And the passenger seat is just 4-way electronically adjustable, and the only issue is that the seats, while moving forward and backward, you can hear they make a bit of a noise, and it's not just the driver or the even the passenger seat actually makes that noise. So yeah, that's just the bit of a thing which was to be mentioned. These seats are also ventilated seats. The controls are mounted on the air conditioning panel itself on both the sides. The rear glass has a sunshade, so that when you press the button given on the left side, you can cover that the rear view glass for the back passenger, so there is no direct sunlight. That is pretty cool. When it comes to charging or connectivity, you will find 2 USB ports given out here in the center armrest, and also 120-watt power socket, and also an auxiliary port and a slot for your memory card. And for the rear passengers, there is 2 USB ports provided in the armrest. Now when it comes to the music system, this car comes with 11 speaker Bose premium music system, and it is premium in every way, in terms of the sound, in terms of the quality. Now in the back you will find generous leg room given out here, and also you can slide your feet under the seat, and because these seats are curving, so they give you that extra leg room. But when it comes to the headroom, because this car is sloping, so someone above 6 feet may find it a little tough may find their head also actually brushing the roof. But otherwise, the quality choice of material continues even in the back. There is soft touch door cards and the brown suede material given out here, and the plastic wood like inserts, and the seats are again brown color Nappa leather seats with the brown stitching, and there are 2 air conditioning vents which I mentioned before. There is a bit of a tunnel in the center, but also the middle row of seat has a bit of a hump in the center, so the middle passenger may find it a little uncomfortable during the longer journeys. But also your head tends to immediately sort of hit the roof. Now I am almost touching the roof in this case right now, so even a 6 foot would be someone who's 6 foot is easily going to brush his head easily. So but otherwise the 2 passengers on both the sides are going to find it really comfortable, and the seats have nice bit of angle to them, and the seats also have this chrome inserts in them. Even the driver seat had a passenger seat, and even in the rear seats they have this chrome insert. And when you're not going to be using the middle row of seat, you can drop down the handrest and you will find 2 cup holders out here. They have this rubber adjustment, so they are adjustable cups and like a slot where you can put your phone, and the 2 USB ports are given inside the handrest. Now you can put your phone inside, and then you can actually use the charging feature. But the only concern is if there is a passenger in the middle row of seat, then this may become really difficult to use the USB ports which are given out here. There are also 3 headrests given in the back, but it's just better to leave the middle headrest down because it actually hinders the visibility, the rear view visibility for the driver. So this Mazda 6 comes with a 2.5 liter dynamic pressure turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine that produces 227 brake horsepower and ginormous 420 Newton meters of torque that this engine manages to produce. Now, the ordinary things just end here because the extraordinary things start now. So, this engine is clubbed to a 6-speed SkyActiv automatic transmission, and if you ask me, I am so impressed by this engine. I am genuinely so impressed because this engine is so smooth, and especially the torque that kicks in at 2000 rpm is just immediate, and it just gives, so the whole thing is you're cruising in luxury. You don't realize that you are accelerating so fast, but when you look at the speedometer, you are actually going pretty fast, because this car wouldn't make you realize that you're going so fast in a car this big. And trust me, because even the gear changes are so smooth, you wouldn't even notice a single gear change from this gearbox. It's so flawless, and even while downshifting or upshifting, it's always ready with the rich amount of torque and the power, and that is so much impressive about this car. So the engine is pretty clever too, so it will switch off 2 out of its 4 cylinders while you're cruising. There are so many other bits, which is the suspension, and even that is on the comfortable side, but the car still doesn't have any amount of roll, literally zero amount of roll, because you are never going to be hesitant about going at a decent amount of speed, I would say, because the suspension setup is actually on the softer side, which gives the ride a really comfortable one inside this. And the only issue is that the steering, sometimes I tend to feel it's a little light, especially at higher speeds. At lower speeds, it's pretty good. And to be honest, Mazdas are one of the best car manufacturers that they make the steering system so good, and even the handling of a car. So to be honest, their standards are actually way higher than anyone else, and it's just that when they go a little lower, you immediately notice, but nonetheless they are way above average from any of their competitors. The steering has a nice bit of feedback from it, and also when you are gonna turn, it's actually pretty responsive. And it's just that at higher speeds it tends to be a little light. It sort of gives you, it becomes a little more sensitive, because typically when the electronic steering at higher speeds are supposed to become a little more harder, so that you don't have the car wouldn't just turn around with the slightest of movement of the steering wheel. But is still not a complaint, because it is absolutely amazing. And then we come to the paddle shifts. Now I find the paddle shifts to be okay, but nonetheless, because you're pretty much going to be cruising around in this car, and I would just leave it into the drive mode, or if I want, there is also a sport mode. And when I put the car in the sport mode, it actually is pretty fast, really fast, and you wouldn't realize. Trust me, it's just that when you're sitting inside, you don't really realize how fast you're going, because even the car is pretty good with the whole NVH levels. It's very quiet. There are no vibrations at all from the car. Absolutely zero. I mean, I have been just praising this car, but trust me, it's just I am finding really hard to find any flaws from this car. The cars are becoming so much complicated, but Mazda 6 is something that assures you that cars can still be simple yet advanced, and yet they can offer you so much more than by just not being gimmicky, but instead providing you with something very, very real. This car actually comes with 4-disc brakes, so the performance of it is rather pretty good. There's also an emergency stop signal system, so whenever I brake hard, it would automatically switch on the parking lights, which is a neat safety feature. Now when we come to the safety features, again, this car is loaded with a ton of stuff. So you get 6 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags, and there are curtain airbags all around in the car. And then there is also a 360-degree camera system. The output from that is pretty alright, because the screen is TFT, so there are a bit of a contrast issues that are on the screen, but it's still manageable because there is still nonetheless a 360-degree camera system. There's also child ISOFIX points in both the rear seats. There is dynamic stability control. There is also SkyActiv safety systems. With all of this which I mentioned is all SkyActiv, part of SkyActiv safety systems. And there's also ABS, there is EBD. Even in terms of the efficiency, this delivers anywhere between 9.5 to 11 on a highway. If you're going on a longer journeys, it will easily give you 11, and that is not bad again for a sedan. So the Mazda 6 is actually a marvelous family sedan. It is beautiful, it is sophisticated, it is fun to drive, it's athletic, because even the gearbox and the engine are so on point. The moment you press the throttle, it's always ready with the gears. Here's the thing that these days there are so many manufacturers producing these sort of sedans, and it just becomes very difficult to decide on which one to pick. Gladly, I would say this car will actually make your decision making very easy. All you have to do is just go to the showroom and check this car out. When it comes to pricing, it is 129,000, but I'll actually say it's not a bad option for this price point. So that is, I think, pretty much it for this video. I hope I've pretty much covered everything related to this car, but it's just that I so love this brand, and it's just that the brand itself is very underrated, and it needs that recognition, and when you sit in this car, you're gonna be blown away. Anyways, give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye and take care.